October 9th. That's where it starts.
You see, it's the same old thing.
You're at 109 right now.
Yo, I bought a book. I bought a book a few weeks ago, maybe about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago now. And the book had a picture of a man whom I encountered when I was in Japan. I was in Tokyo. I remember that guy. I took photos of him. I did not know that he could potentially have been part of a movement. Like, basically, there are artists in Japan, and they do things to get attention, or they do things. They're public performance artists. That's what it is. Performance artists, okay? And they perform in public, okay? So, and there's this guy, I saw him, and yeah, I was there in Japan. I saw him in person. So while I saw him in person, I decided, of course, to do what you do as a tourist, snap photos of him. So I snapped a few photos of the guy. Um, I thought it was, at the time, I just thought it was interesting, bizarre behavior, interesting, intriguing. Like, wow, the guy is actually doing this. He's just gonna stand here while a sea of people just basically washed over him. He was like a mollusk, you know, holding his position like a mollusk, or excuse me, not a mollusk, but a mussel, a barnacle stuck to the pier, while the waves crash into it. If you could picture that, he was like that. He was unmovable, immovable, right? Immobile. He just stayed there. He was permanent, right? Fixed. It's a beautiful example of yoga, right? Because it takes dedication, it takes meditation, it takes his willpower and a great deal of faith. Someone could hurt him. You know, Thousands of people pass him at any given moment. This takes place at Shibuya Crossing, the location where thousands of people cross at any given time. So there I was, right there in front of him, snapping photo. I don't know if he was looking at me or he was looking in my direction. You know, Perhaps he was saying to himself, "I see someone who is equally as intriguing as am I." Because this is an Asian man in an Asian country where everyone, a sea of oneness or a sea of similarity, and then you see this black man who stands out from all of these others, and maybe he was looking at me, maybe he wasn't, maybe he was just preparing for his next performance, right? Because he would stand in this position and then he would take a break for a moment to gain his composure, take a deep breath, and then he would proceed to take position and hold that position as throngs of people would pass him by. And then I also had to wonder, as I was taking these photos, I was like, what's behind those eyes? Is this guy, deranged, deluded? Is he having a psychotic break? Like, what is it? What does he do? What's happening here? What's behind those eyes, really? What's his story? But as you can see, I was able to get as close as I could, to snap some really good photos of him to really get a sense of, hey, this is a real person doing something that's kind of bizarre, but maybe usual, something that's just natural, for people in this part of the city, who maybe want attention or are going to draw attention to themselves for some reason. I don't know. This is another photo of just the area, just to give you. Yeah, you can even see the guy. You can see him, in this picture. This is just a different angle. I had walked, a ways away from him, and there he was, still there, doing his thing. Shibuya Crossing, 2013. That was the year when I was there in Japan. In 2013, I went to Japan 3 times. In 2015, I went to Japan 5 times. And I went to Japan in 2017, maybe once. But 2013, 2015, 3, 5, yeah. I play with those numbers, you know. I think it was in 2013 that I saw Shibuya Ichimaru-kyu for the first time. I think so. Hey, I also found Larry's. I also found a restaurant or a place called Larry's. So I snapped the photo. Had to do that. That's obligatory. You dig. There's the guy again. Another photo. And everyone, I guess this is normal. So folks weren't really snapping photos and weren't really interested in what he was doing. But in my case, I was. Everyone else was just going about their business, you know, which is interesting. Some guys are standing around, but this is a common meeting area, a meeting place. So I don't think these guys are standing around because of this one man. I think they were more so standing around because they were waiting to meet their friends, you know. So this is the pose. This is the famous pose. I believe he would take a break, you know, gain his composure, and then he would return to this pose. And he would hold this pose, close his eyes, hold that pose as throngs of people would pass him, you know, at that location. You know, that's his milieu. That's what he does, right? So there he is, holding his cell phone, maybe moving in between poses or something like that. But that's the guy. That's him. Shibuya, Tokyo. Shibuya Crossing, Tokyo, 2013. Images from that time. Peace and blessings from IC 109.
You're at 109 right now.
You see,
October 9th. That's where it starts.
I just checked the clock. It was
109.
So I'm staying within tradition.
Oh, cool, good.
And
Keeping your true to your pattern. That's good. Consistency is good.
you see,
You're at 109 right now.
it's the same old thing.